if they're so high as to be somewhat disabling. And then there's also behavioral impacts. And I think that when the government is the principal, there's good reason to get involved in order to make that incentive more efficient and to avoid the behavioral impacts of crowding out that could undermine the effects of incentive programs either now or in the future. But I don't think that that's a reasonable basis for intervention when the principal is private or when the agent incentivizes him or herself, such as the use of a commitment contract. And I think that's because the private principal or the agent in those scenarios has the opportunity to modify the incentive, and that if autonomy is respected, then we really should then we should be okay with the outcomes of the incentive programs. And finally, when there's a third party benefiting from the incentive, that's when we have externalities as a result of motivational crowding out. And I think those may be, in some cases, the strongest, and in some cases, the only justification for intervening in a crowding out effect. So that's most of what I wanted to tell you. The last part of my paper and the last part that I was planning to mention was that the remedy that you select for a crowding out effect really depends on the mechanism that's happening. And there's ways that intervening in crowding out could be productive for some mechanisms, but really counterproductive for other ones. And I'm happy to talk about that more in questions. So I'll leave you with the one conclusion I really want to leave you with is that mechanisms matter when we're looking at remedying and evaluating crowding out effects, and that there could be justifications for intervention, but not all the time. And I'll leave you with a picture of a crowd, one of the more attractive crowds I could find in open access pictures, and I welcome your questions and comments. Thank you.
All right, so we've got a relatively small two-person panel and a huge topic.